Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of Did That Really Happen?, where we explore strange, interesting, and vague moments in history to find out if they really happened or if they're all just misunderstood urban legends. In today's episode, we're headed to the land down under to discuss a hilarious conflict known as the Great Emu War of 1932. Did Australia really fight against an army of giant flightless birds and lose? Let's find out. Wherever humans go, they tend to have this odd ability to kill anything and everything they find. That's what makes the Emu War in Australia so bizarre. Man against beast. It's a classic story. But where did Australia go oh so wrong? So first, a little background. It all started shortly after World War I. The Australian government was languishing after making steep sacrifices for the war effort. Thousands of their men died in the failed Gallipoli campaign in modern-day Turkey. Of the survivors that were able to make it back home to Australia, many of them struggled to readjust to civilian life. And at the same time, much of Australia's interior was woefully underdeveloped. In order to fix both problems, the government decided to issue land grants in the outback to the struggling veterans. The idea was for these former soldiers to farm the land, developing a new way of life while helping to develop the land at the same time. But the practice quickly led to overfarming that nearly ruined the environment. And as things got worse, the local wildlife started to look for food and water. Emus aren't strangers to Australia. When times would get tough in the outback, small groups of the birds would wander toward farms in an effort to survive. Usually they were easy to scare away, but then the mobs of emus, yes, that's the technical name for a group of emus, a mob, started to grow and become more aggressive. Most people don't realize how big emus really are. Standing at nearly 6 feet tall and weighing around 120 pounds, they have powerful legs with sharp claws that could disembowel a man in one hit. But the bigger danger posed by the flightless birds is their ability to eat large amounts of plant life in a day. The birds quickly began to decimate the farmland in the area. In the summer of 1932, a horde of 20,000 6-foot-tall, hungry danger chickens emerged from the outback in search for food. They plowed through fencing designed to keep out rabbits, tearing through farms like mini dinosaurs on a rampage. Now, believe it or not, emus are hard to kill. Their thick plumage and large body mass make it difficult to get a kill shot. So, the veteran farmers decided to ask the government for help. Under the command of Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery's 7th Heavy Battery, an elite combat squad of bush commandos was quickly created. Their goal? To eliminate all emus within range of the farms by killing them or driving them off. But the war effort was doomed from the start. The combat squad only brought 10,000 rounds of ammunition when they really needed at least twice that. What didn't help matters was the fact that the group got stuck in a torrential downpour just as they started, which caused their already finicky machine guns to jam. And when the commandos were able to get their guns to fire, the emus worked diligently to outsmart them. And by diligently, I mean they pretty much just chilled in the shade. They would gather in small groups among the nearby trees. When the squad attempted to flush them out toward their gun nest, the emus would go crazy and run in every direction imaginable. The commandos even went so far as to mount gun turrets atop their trucks in order to make an all-out assault against the troublesome birds. Still, the emus were able to avoid any casualties. Eventually, Meredith and his men were recalled by Parliament due to their embarrassing failure. But the local farmers demanded that they return and finish the job. After the group's second offensive, they claimed to have fired 9,860 bullets and killed 986 emus, a ratio of exactly 10 shots per bird. They'd done no better than the farmers, and many experts even questioned the final tally. In fact, some claimed that anyone could have killed more emus by running them over with trucks than Meredith's men did with their guns. So, with their heads hung in shame, the Australian commandos admitted defeat and left. The guys never really lived down what happened, and some members of Parliament even joked that medals should have been made to commemorate the campaign, but with the medals all going to the victorious emus, of course. Today, there are an estimated 725,000 emus in Australia, with every Sheila and bloke having learned to live in peace with their avian overlords. The Great Emu War of 1932? Yeah, it really happened. Thanks so much for listening to Did That Really Happen? And stay tuned for our next episode. I'm your host, J. William Denton.